all over the place, not just in a closet. I worked for Cooper University Hospital for 14 years as an employee assistance counselor, and there I was doing what I'm going to show some of you today later in the presentation, and I was doing that with docs and the med school and the nurses and security and police departments and the whole works. And so I've not done this, what I'm going to show you today, in a closet. Okay, so I'm going to get started. I was rambling to give people a few minutes to join us, but I want to get started on our very important topic today. And the important topic today is compassion fatigue. And what is compassion fatigue, and why is it rampant right now? So if you don't know, in 1995, Charles Figley, who is a PhD, and he's also the author of Trauma Journal, he coined the word compassion fatigue versus burnout to talk about what compassion fatigue was. It's vicarious trauma, and it's also secondary trauma. And so when we have compassion fatigue, we are almost as traumatized as our clients. And what compassion fatigue looks like is we look like we have that we have trauma, and it affects our nervous system, our sleep, our intensity, our behavior. We feel depressed, we're jumpy, and we're all of those things. By the way, technically, compassion fatigue and burnout are different, but people use them in the same way, and I don't usually bother to correct people. I just let it go. Technically, compassion fatigue means that you are suffering the same as your client, or very similar, that you can't shake what you're doing. Burnout just means you're doing too much. So in today's world, people may be burned out on watching TV. It's just too much. You've just been watching, Netflix, things like that. You've been just watching it so much that you're just exhausted and you just don't want to watch it any further. But you don't really have an emotional charge when we ask about it, whereas with compassion fatigue, you do. All right. So that's typical compassion fatigue. You're exhausted. You are jumpy. You are not feeling well. You dread work. You have a loss of hope and meaning. You have a lot of anxiety. You have a lot of frustration. You're cognitively, you're off. Your mental processes are slower. You're disorganized, distracted, memory, all those kinds of things similar to your clients. That's typical compassion fatigue. Now let's bring it into COVID-19, okay? Here's the dilemma with COVID-19. See, the dilemma is we're all in the same boat. Usually we have professional distance with our clients. Usually our clients are talking about their difficulties, their problems with their husbands, they're difficult with their jobs, their house that burned. But right now, our clients are talking about what we're going through also. And so we're in the same boat as our clients, and that makes it much harder. And I've also been calling COVID-19 an invisible disaster. It's an invisible disaster, and I don't know where it is. I told you I have adult children. When they visit, my reaction is to want to hug them, but they may be deadly to me because they've been out and about a little bit more than I have. They've been in grocery stores and things like that. And so we have this invisible disaster. And also, the numbers are over the top. I did a little math. By the way, this reminds me of what we felt at 9/11, and I did do some counseling at 9/11. I'm about an hour south of Liberty Park, and if you don't know, Liberty Park opened up a site after 9/11, and they had everyone there. They had FEMA, they had the lawyers giving out death certificates because normally you can't get them for 3 years. They had therapists, and we were in the same boat. We were trying to help people manage their extreme stress and their anger over what happened, and we were under extreme stress and anger. But I did a little math, okay? I wanted to see how this compared to 9/11. So in 9/11, 3,000 people died. Okay, it's a little less, but I'm using round numbers. Okay, if I use the number of 140,000 at this moment, it means right now we are 47 times worse than 9/11. Okay, 47 times worse. Okay, if I look at the Vietnam War, which was over 9 years, they lost 280 Americans, by the way, 282,000 people. We are at half of that in 4 months. Okay, you know, and also if we look at the overdoses last year, because prior to this COVID epidemic, I had a great curiosity of wondering if what I do, I can take into the opioid epidemic for pain and for stress. So the opioid epidemic last year anyway, I think it's last year, maybe the year before, had 58,000 people that died. We are now 3.5 times past that in 4 months. Okay, so if you wonder what's wrong with you, nothing. What's wrong with the world? Everything. Okay, and we are the helpers. We're the people that people turn to. I know, so I have very severe asthma. Okay, and I'm being very, very careful. Asthma, overweight, old. I have a bullet on my back. Okay, so I may have 6 clients in a day, and 4 of them want to talk about how COVID-19 is affecting them. And also that some of them want to talk about, oh my gosh, if I get sick, will I be able to get a ventilator? Now, I don't agonize over that, but sit with it for 4 hours and see what your state of mind is at the end of the day and what your energy level is and how exhausted you are. And so again, we are in the same boat as our clients, and it's hitting us in the same way. We have the same fears and the same worries, which mean we don't have the professional distance. So doing the math, I don't even know how to multiply our compassion fatigue to what is usual compassion fatigue when we're working with trauma clients whose trauma has nothing to do with us, okay? So we're exhausted. In addition, this is not just trauma, okay? This is not just trauma. This is also grief, okay? We have lost a lot, okay? One of the things that I like to do is wander through Marshall's and buy a new top. I can't do that. Okay, have people over. I can do that, but it's very planned. We're having lawn parties, if you will, 3-4 people at a time. And so we've lost a lot. We've lost a lot of civil liberties. We've lost a lot of our social engagement. Many of us liked our offices and are not working there. Working from Zoom, FaceTime, DoxyMe, whatever you're doing is way more intense than working in an office. And I tried to explain this to my husband. In an office, I'm away and I see a lot of things. Here, I see this, okay? One of the strategies that I've used is I'm sitting at a desk and there's a blank wall behind me. So behind there, I've put up a collage of oceans and dramatic pictures, not cute little pictures of my family, the drama pictures, because I call it an eye stretch. I look at you, I look at that, I see the ocean banging, I see some tulips. We need to take care of ourselves in very unusual ways. We're also in very unmapped territory. People have not written a lot about what to do when you are also a part of the same trauma that everyone else is going through, okay? So that's kind of background. And maybe with a show of hands, because we have several of you here. We've got you all silenced at the moment. We will open that up later, okay? Maybe with a show of hands, how many of you have a fatigue that you just can't put a label to? Yeah, it's just hard to put a label to it, right? Because it feels different. I know for me, I was very routinized. I saw the client, I took their copay, I wrote a note, I read the next client's note, and off I go. I struggle at the end of the night to write notes because I don't want to summarize their worries about COVID-19, okay? Now, COVID-19 is not the only thing that's happening out there. We also have a lot of protests that are going on in terms of racial injustice, okay? So when I sit with my Black clients, and I do, and I have a fair amount, I'm listening to them. I'm opening up questions that maybe I missed. Maybe we talked about it briefly, but perhaps their issues were not so race related at the time. It may have been discipline with children. It may have been difficulty with a husband, but now it's in everybody's face. And I listen to my Black clients talk about what their fears are. And their fears, of course, are worried about their athletic husband because he likes to run outside and wear a hoodie. He should be able to wear a hoodie. Worried about their sons, what this means to that. And so not only am I exhausted from COVID-19, I also walk around with the guilt and shame of having missed this for so long. Not totally, by the way. Okay, I'm a social worker. We didn't miss it totally, but not to that level and not that often. And, you know, the question to them is, how is this affecting you? And we're off and running, okay, kind of thing. So it's a different kind of compassion fatigue than what we've seen. And so I'm going to try, okay, to use a little bit of Stephen Porges's polyvagal theory to sort of talk about what happens to us under these conditions, okay? And so the vagus nerve, I'm sure you all know a little about this. It runs from your gut up into your brain stem, and it's always scanning for danger. It's also always scanning for safety, okay, which we are doing all day long. Even, you know, people say I felt something in my gut. That's actually true. You do feel something in your gut. But one of the things that I did in reviewing his work is when you are in danger, I always thought the first thing you did was fight or flight. That's what I thought, sympathetic nervous system. That to me was a no-brainer. But in reviewing his stuff, that's not the first thing you do. The first thing you do is social engagement. And social engagement is either calling for help, you know, say there's a fire in your house, you call for help, you call for the fire department, your neighbors come running, okay? And if it's an intruder, you try first to befriend them, talk them out of it, okay? And I was not, you know, this is kind of reshuffling my deck, if you will, in terms of that. Well, where are we with social engagement right now? It's pretty in the toilet, right? You know, I can't give these hugs to the people that I care about. I can't wander through, again, Marshall's looking for a top, talk to a cute baby, smile perhaps, and social engagement is really quiet. And then when you put these masks on us, it's really hard to read. By the way, the polyvagal, the vagus nerve also controls and reads the face, okay? And you put a mask on me when I'm out, my eyes are just not expressive enough to know whether I am smiling or I'm pretty pissed, okay? So we're not getting that either when we're out and about, okay? So now that I've told you why, with two hands, how many of you are feeling like, oh my gosh, what are we in for? Okay, yeah, all right. Yeah, absolutely, okay. All right, so compassion fatigue is real, okay? At the moment, it's international. It's everywhere. It's not just you feeling like, what's wrong with me, okay? You know, it's funny, even Mother Teresa recognized, and good grief, none of us are, I'm not Mother Teresa, okay? Even Mother Teresa said that any of her nuns after 4 or 5 years must have an entire year off to recover from compassion fatigue, okay? So even Mother Teresa, you know, yeah. All right, so let's talk about you in a whole bunch of ways, all right? So let's go back to Stephen Porges's polyvagal theory. And of course, the beginning is social engagement. That's gone, okay? Those of you who are single and dating, I don't know what the heck you're doing, okay? That has to be so difficult. I can't even imagine it. You know, but the social engagement part, and you know, in our term, we are social workers, right? And that's what we do. We're, for the most part, most of us are very extroverted, like being with people, and that is cut off in many ways, okay? Certainly the other outlets are cut off. I was joking a little bit. My husband is addicted to ESPN, and I was pretty much saying, be kind to the sports addicts because they are in cold turkey withdrawal, okay? It's just gone. There's no sports, okay, that's out there. Maybe we've got a glimmer of something that's happening, but we'll see whether that's going to happen or not, okay? So we go into fight and flight, okay? And with fight and flight, you know that that our bodies are activated, that we're looking to everything is flying in us. Our heart rate is higher, our stomach, whatever, and we're exhausted. And so we need to take care of ourselves. You know, it's funny, I was thinking in many ways, this workshop should be called Caring for the Caretaker. And I thought to myself, the first time I ran a workshop was with a minister before I had my master's degree, well over 40 years in a mental health center called Caring for the Caretaker. And we have to prioritize that because if we burn out, we don't help our clients. We really don't help our clients. And so let's start physically, okay? Physically, we need some exercise. We need good nutrition. We need to do some relaxation stuff. We need to sleep. And you know that 10-minute window we have between clients? Okay, this job is so sedentary, but it's not sedentary when it's in my office. Because when it's in my office, I've walked to the office, I get up, I put a chart over there, whatever. But this is so sedentary. I am actually doing this and telling my clients to do it too. And in that 10-minute window, I am dancing for 5 minutes. I turned up the movie like nobody's looking because nobody is looking, okay? And I'm dancing 5 minutes between clients, just any way I can, just to keep my body flowing because this work is just so sedentary. You want to, oh, the other thing is, how many of you are missing time alone? Yeah, okay. I see about 20 clients a week. I see 5 clients, they go out to their cars. That's their new office, okay? And we've had to have some rules. One rule is with the cars, you cannot be moving. I said this to a veteran and he was a little annoyed with me and he stopped his car. And then we had this incredible angry dialogue about what's going on in the world. And I said, and that's why you couldn't be moving. Okay, so if they go out to the clients, make them park. The second thing that I've had to say to them is they can't walk. And the reason they can't walk is because I get motion sick. I'm going to show you. Motion sick, right? Okay, if they're walking. Okay, so I've had to do that. And the third thing that I've had to say is, who's in the room with you? Okay, because I can't see it. Okay, and who's in the room with them is, oh, my wife is on the couch, and you're going to talk about your wife, okay? Or your teenagers are in the room, and you want to talk about what's going on in your marriage. So those are 3 things that I've learned the hard way that you need to do, okay?
Robin, we've got a couple of questions. Is this a good time to a question?
Sure.
Okay, somebody wanted to know, you mentioned polyvagal theory and
yes.
the author.
What do they want to know?
The author?
Oh, yes, Stephen Porges, Porges.
Okay, and we have a couple of people who'd like to ask you in-person questions. Is this a good time or would you like to wait a little bit?
Let me wait just a little bit. What I think I would like to do is just sort of go as far as I go and then have questions and answers at the end, okay? Please, and unless you, Helen, think that it's something that I missed and it's something that, that people need me to say at the time, okay?
Okay.
Okay, all right. So take care of yourself, physically, emotionally. Okay, and so let me talk about some ways to take care of you. So I think one of the greatest ways to take care of yourself is gratitude and laughter. Okay, they change your biology, by the way. When you go into those two things, um, they bring in chemicals, neurochemicals. They bring in serotonin, which we all know is a component in all the SSRIs, antidepressants. They bring in dopamine. Dopamine goes up to your reward center, and it reinforces that you want to do it again. And it brings in oxytocin. That's the bonding chemical. Okay, and so they bring in things. So find things to laugh at. Okay, laugh any way you can. With gratitude, this is pretty interesting. Gratitude does that too. And when I push my clients to do gratitude in a session, very quickly they're laughing and smiling. Okay, so maybe you can all on the chat just put up what. By the way, can you see the chat? Can people see the chat, or just you, Helen?
No, everyone can see the chat.
Okay, so how about if everyone posts one thing that they're grateful for, and let's not do the biggies. Let's not do your house. Let's not do food, and let's not do your jobs. Okay, that makes you stretch a little bit. Okay, and so I'm grateful for this dog that makes me laugh. Okay, I managed to find this thing that blows dog bubbles, and so she's on the backyard. Makes me laugh. Okay, so what things are you grateful for?
Can I share something, Robin?
Sure.
I have a grateful jar, and so each week I put a post-it note for what I'm grateful for, and the plan is to open it on New Year's Day 2021.
Yeah, that's really fabulous. So I'm going to give you just a second to post that. I wonder why I don't see that. I don't see the chat.
If you go down to the bottom.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
I'm going to open up that so I can see the chat.
We're hearing that the birds that sing outside somebody's window every day. My dog is a popular theme. Facebook family updates, having a swimming pool that I can use every day.
I'm coming to your house, by the way. I'll wear a mask. Yeah. Okay. I'm also going to suggest to you to go one step further and to find someone and have a grateful partner. Somebody that you talk to every day about 3 things that you're grateful for, and they tell you 3 things that they're grateful for. Because it's going to change. It changes your chemistry. It changes how you view the world. It changes how you feel. And it's very helpful that you're changing somebody else as well. So it is one thing that I think could be incredibly helpful. Some strategies, and we use these similar strategies with 9/11. And I want to say to you, be careful how much TV you're watching, particularly news. Like I think it's important for us to be aware of what's going on, and that's somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes, perhaps morning and evening. But there are people who are absolutely addicted to everything that's being said, watching it over and over and over again. With TV, try to use some escapism. Dancing with the Stars, American Idol, okay, stuff that has nothing to do with anything, just to give your head a break. I have had 2 outings with 3 good friends in my backyard, socially distanced. We put a flower plot in the middle, okay? The first one, everyone talked about COVID and illnesses. And I was a mess afterwards. And I realized I can't hear that. I normally can, but I can't hear that stuff right now because I hear it all day from clients. Okay. And I have to put myself on the shelf and hear what they're saying and not vent what I'm saying. So I invited them again, but with the stipulation, cannot talk about illness, cannot talk about the virus. And so what we ended up being was 3 of them and me in the grass, happy, silly women, happy, silly girls laughing. That was so healthy. So you're going to have to say to some of your people in your world, because I do what I do all day and I listen to people talk about this stuff all day, please forgive me. I can't handle it right now. And so I'm telling you to do some escapism, to not allow your family, friends, colleagues to load you up with stuff because you need to care for yourself and the caretaker, okay? Things that people posted. Also, find the pretty things in nature. I do have flowers in back. Okay. Oh, you'll love this story. So I'm absolutely secluding in space, place. I'm not out and about anywhere except to walk the dog around the neighborhood. I become a street walker. Okay, kind of thing. But so when it came time for plants to come out, like I did get one tray from of flowers, but that's not enough. I have plastic flowers all over my backyard. I have plastic roses. I have plastic bushes. They're at the back of my lot. I'm okay with it. I mean, I know they're there, and so be creative, but create the world that you need. I would love to be on the water. I'm not on the water. Flowers are a good substitute for me. So create the world that you need. Again, humor. And I also want to tell you, it's okay to have meltdowns. It's okay to have meltdowns. We too are human. I have about 2 meltdowns a week. I call them loneliness meltdowns. And I am living with my husband. But what happens in those meltdowns is he will say, let's take a ride. And we do. And sometimes we get out of the car and sometimes we don't. We drive to other people's developments and look at their landscaping. I mean, so it is okay to have meltdowns. And I hope you have somebody that is in your world, whether it be virtual or your real world, that allows you to do that, okay? Also, I'm going to tell you, stay close to your colleagues. Okay, stay close to your colleagues. I hope everyone in their normal stress strategy plan has 1 or more colleagues that you can just call up and say, oh my goodness, okay? They know you're fabulous, and you can just call up and say, oh my goodness, and then just release it and they will be there for you. So stay close to your colleagues, okay? I already talked about the mask, okay? I do have notes. I didn't want to miss anything. So I think we're clear what compassion fatigue is. You are relating as if you have vicarious trauma, secondary trauma, okay? So what do you do about it? Okay, so I just gave you a bunch of tools that I think anyone would give you. You probably know them. You've probably given them to your clients to do, okay? One of the things that I'm known for, one of the things that I present on is I have moved into the mind-body sphere, and I used to strictly do the emotional freedom technique called tapping, but I probably do 5 to 7 different ones. And I'd like to show you 3. And I'll tell you why. So when we don't have social engagement, we kick into that fight and flight. It's not good for us. It's okay on the short run, by the way. It has a purpose. It protects us on the short run, but it lingers and it stays there. And sometimes it's stuck. And it's not good for us to be in the sympathetic nervous system, because where we want to do is we want to relax and be in the parasympathetic nervous system, because that's where our body flows. And additionally, that's where our immune system works the best. It recognizes the germ, COVID. It works when we're in the parasympathetic nervous system. I have a nurse right now in my caseload, and she had the virus, and now she's calling it post-virus, and she's got a lot of complications post-virus. Yesterday she saw me flat in bed because her body has swollen, and this is after the virus. And what we did is I said, look, I don't know how to help you medically, but I know we've got to get you down to the We've got to get you down into that parasympathetic nervous system. And I know you're worried about yourself. And so we talked about she likes animals, watch animal videos, watch TV, and do some of the techniques that I'm going to show you. Okay, so let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to start with the emotional freedom technique. I think some of you probably know I'm lucky enough that I speak for PESI Training Organization, and I do this all over the country. I was speaking 6 days a month. I'm now doing it once a month. It's okay. I do it virtually, okay? So anyway, let's get you to tune into your stress level right this second. And I leave you there for 5 seconds. And 0 to 10, where are you now? 10 being the worst. And now I want you to note where you feel it in your body. Okay, and the way to do that is to do a body scan. Start at the top of your head and just slide on through. And where do you feel the tightness and tension in your body? And so for a lot of people, it's a tight throat. It's either a pounding or pressure in their chest. It can be like a tightness in the esophagus area, and it can also be like a queasy stomach, sort of an unusual stomach. And note that too. And 0 to 10, how bad is that? Okay, so we're going to play Simon Says, and I'm going to say something, you're going to repeat it. All right, and so I'm going to say, follow me if you will. You're going to copy what I do, and I'm going to have you say, even though I am stressed out. I know I can't hear you. I can see your mouths move though. I'm a good person, and I accept this is where my emotions are right now. Okay, top of head. I am stressed out and I feel this in my body. Inner eyebrow. I am stressed out and I feel this in my body. Outer eye. By the way, we're holding it for about 1 breath. Just don't go too fast, okay? I am stressed out and I feel this in my body. And under the eye. I am stressed out and I feel this in my body. Under the nose. I am stressed out and I feel this in my body. Under the lip. I am stressed out and I feel this in my body. Collarbone. I am stressed out. This is under the arm. Let me see if I can get to there. Under the arm. It's about 4 inches below the armpit. For women, it's where the bra strap hits. I am stressed out. This here is called the gamut spot. I feel this in my body. And this is a heart hold. I feel this in my body. By the way, I read an article that said touch is becoming the new medicine. And indeed, those of us who are working in the mind-body area, you know, I'm a little fish, but the big fish, Bessel van der Kolk, Peter Levine, Ron Siegel, we're all kind of working in the body. I'm going to take you through it one more time. I feel stressed out and I feel it in my body. I feel stressed out and I feel this in my body. I feel this stress in my body. I feel this stress in my body. My body is stressed out. My body is stressed out. I feel stress in my body. I feel stressed out in my body. Under the arm, my body feels stressed out. My body is stressed out. And my body is stressed out. Okay, tune into that stress in your body and think about it for 5 seconds. And 0 to 10, where is it now? And we can see some of you, if you dropped, do you mind holding up fingers? Like if you dropped 2 points or 3 points or whatever, do you mind holding up fingers? 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay, normally we go through that 3 times. Because of time, I'm only going to go through it twice. You have my email. The technique's called the Emotional Freedom Technique. It is Robin with an I, Robin, EFT1 @gmail. And if any of you want me to send you any handouts, I have a ton of handouts. I'm happy to share those with you. Okay, so usually we go through it 3 times. Each round is a ½ minute. So we go through it for a minute and a half. And what we're hoping for is to drop 2 to 4 points. That's what we're hoping to drop, okay? And what's that doing is, it's great if it's quiet in your head, but it is quiet in your body. And that's what we're trying to do, is just quiet down the physiological arousal that happens when you're in the parasympathetic nervous system, because your body thinks you're in real danger. And you know, in the moment, none of us are in real danger in the moment. Perhaps an hour from now, I can't predict that, but in the moment, yet our bodies are racing anyway, okay? I had an opportunity to speak at a conference virtually during this time, and I did my first piece of research ever. And at the conference, I showed people something that's called a brief energy correction, because I like shortcuts. Show me how to do this fast, okay? And so I'm going to show you something that's called the brief energy correction, and we'll do that a few times. And it is in the field, it's called correction for neurological disorganization. That's a big word. What that means is that sometimes the techniques, the mind-body techniques, go flat. They won't work. And so it was a correction for that. And I wondered, it was usually done once, and I wondered if it was a technique all by itself, if it could be used, just repeat it. If my body is flat and not reading, and this is going to start my body up, it's like, you know, starting the engine, you know, getting a charge, if you will, and starting the engine. So I've been doing that for about 5-6 months all over the place. And the research showed in the audience, I had 76 people, 36 people dropped 4 points with pain, and 39 people dropped 5 points with an upset. Okay, and so it's just, and again, I use what I'm showing you for both emotional trauma and also physical pain. Okay, so follow me on this one. I'm going to stand. This hand is going to cover your belly button, and I'm just going to show you where that is. My belly button is about there. Okay, cover that and leave that. That hand is now frozen. We're not going to move that, okay? And come on up here to this hand. We're going to move. And if you're on, just switch hands, whichever one you want to move, okay? This is 2 fingers across the collarbone. This is under the nose with 2 fingers. Under the lip with 2 fingers. And reach to the tailbone. Okay, so I'm going to talk while we do that. I'm going to have us repeat this 6 times. We're calling it the Beck times 6. Okay, so it's 1 hand on the belly button frozen. Come on up here, and I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. So I am truly using Chinese and Asian meridians. Whenever I call this Chinese medicine, I always get corrected because somebody in the audience will say, I'm Korean and we use it too, or I'm Japanese and we use it too, okay? And so I'm using meridians. And what happens with meridians is meridians are very relaxing. When you activate meridians, people yawn and sigh. And my neuroscientist colleagues tell me that when you're yawning, it's a sign that you're going into relaxation and you're going into the parasympathetic nervous system, and that's where we want to be, in that parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, so I'm holding you here. So let me tell you what we're doing. The hand across the belly button is hitting a bunch of meridians. Okay, this one here is hitting the kidney meridian, which is a very powerful meridian. This is the most powerful meridian. The Chinese name this the governing vessel. It starts here, goes up through your head and down through your tailbone into through your spine. Okay. The second most powerful meridian is here. This one goes straight down, and this is called the central vessel, and it goes straight down. And then we're hitting that governing vessel again. Okay. So I'm going to do this a couple more times with you up here. And so in the research, we did Beck times 6, and I've timed it. It's 5 seconds each time you do it. So it's 30 seconds. And we did it 3 different times. We did it actually 6 times 3. We did it 18 times, okay? And we got those numbers, all right? So tune into your stress level right this second, and also where you're feeling things in your body. And did you drop another point or 2? Are you beginning to feel yourself kind of chill? Yeah. If so, if you could hold up fingers, if you dropped another point or 2, another point, another point. Okay, 2 points, 2 points. Okay, 4 points. Fabulous. Okay. And I have in front of me about 10 people. I think we have many more on the call that I just can't see. So if I'm ignoring you, it's technology. It's not me. I would never ignore you. Okay. All right. So those are things that you can do pretty quickly with your clients. I have handouts on that. I'm very fortunate. The organization that I belong to, I did the research, but they gave me someone to write up the research. And she's a psychologist who was writing research for the drug companies for 20 years. Okay. The research is more beautiful than any baby picture I've ever had. Okay. Yeah, her write-up is just beautiful. And so I'm happy to share that with you too. It will be out in September. It's been accepted. Yeah, okay. The last one I want to show you, and then we're going to go to questions, is again, meridians. There's a lot of meridians on your hand. So if you will, put your hand like this, thumb up. And we want you to tap on the thumbnail, then on the index fingernail, and then on the middle fingernail, and then on the ring fingernail, and then on the pinky. Okay, so you can do that, but you can also do this. You can take your thumb and do this in camouflage. I don't know if you can see that. I am doing this one-handed. Okay, and I'm actually not tapping, I'm holding it. And we're all colleagues here, right? So I have a trauma client. She's lovely. She's really lovely. And we are slowly knocking down her trauma memories with this. But we got into a political discussion about schools opening, and she and I are about 3,000 miles apart in our thinking. We come very much from very different stances on that. And I could feel myself activating, okay? And so under the desk, I was doing this, okay? Because I needed to stay present. And she has no idea it was under the desk that I was doing this. And so this is a nice quickie for you, particularly since we're not in anyone's view anymore. And it's interesting. I think all the stuff that I do is body language anyway. I think we use it. I think we use it accidentally. And I'm just telling you, these are meridians. Use them intentionally. Because I used to do something like this as sort of a nervous mannerism. I didn't quite know what I was doing, but now I do it more purposeful, doing stuff like that. Okay, so I'm going to take questions in just a second. I did get a chuckle here. Somebody had posted that their daughter is putting on clothes and they're taking photographs, and it's like a beauty contest, which is just so creative and wonderful. But let me say this to you, okay? You can reach, if you want any handouts on anything, you can reach me again at Robin EFT1, the number 1, at gmail.com. I have a website that's loaded with videos. I'm a speaker without an audience. I get to speak once or twice a month instead of 6 times a month. And so I've just been doing YouTube videos with a lot of my colleagues. I have one on anger. I have one on COVID. I have one working with hospital personnel. I have another one working with anger with an anger expert. So you can find them at my website, robineft.net, or you can go on YouTube if you can spell my last name. And if you can't spell and look up Robin Bilazarian, or I also I have a book. The book is called Tapping the Mighty Mind, and that it is available on Amazon. So my YouTube is also Tapping the Mighty Mind, which is a whole lot easier than Bilazarian, right? Okay, so you can do that. And let me think, anything else that I wanted to say? So I'm gonna ask you for some help. If any of you, what before COVID-19, before all this happened, where I was heading in my career, I'm powerful in mental health, not so powerful in drug and alcohol, but I know 5 ways using these techniques to take down pain. And I wanted to get involved in working with somebody who's in some kind of an agency, hospital, whatever, that's working with drug addicts in recovery. Because what I think is that you take away the medicine, you take away the reason that they got on it, and you've got to show them some way to work with pain. And so if any of you know any of those ways for me to access that, let me know. I am going to go back and try and approach, I worked at Cooper Hospital for 14 years. I'm going to go back and see if I can approach them too. The COVID virus sort of took me off track a little bit to doing that. And the only other last thing I'm going to say is, I'm sure I'm sure we all have our own political views, and that's fine. One of the dominations of NASW is to have a political platform, PACE, Political Action Election Committee, and so I am. NASW just sponsored a candidate that I agree with. He's kind of a very big humanitarian, and we will be putting together a fundraiser pretty quickly through NASW. We're working on it, and so what I hope to do is have him speak and then invite you all back to my Zoom where we can party. Okay, so look for that. Yeah, his name is Andy Kim. And I don't want to say more than that. Okay, so let me take your questions now. And Helen, I'm going to let you moderate this, whether they be live or whether they be chat questions or whatever.
Okay, Ronald asks, do you use past ability to address trauma-related issues to better manage your current state of affairs?
Heck yes. Heck yes. Okay.
Is that the medical
so
term?
when I work with anything, I always this is more clinical. Okay, when I work with anything, I start in the present. The present is that you are freaking out about your job because you don't know whether you're going to hold on to it during this virus. Okay, I work with that. I calm that down, and then I actually say, what does this remind you of from the past? And I may or may not get into a trauma. But I'm always looking for old triggers, because the old triggers are where the power is in terms of why we don't feel well. We overreact to things that we didn't process in the past. And so I'm always working with that. And then from there, I'm going into the future. And the future is, what do you need? And the future, by the way, may be tomorrow. It doesn't have to be months from now. What are you nervous about addressing in this job, in conversations with your manager, whatever, and trying to calm that down too. So yeah, absolutely.
Munira, I'm going to unmute you if you'd like to ask your question or make your comments. Munira?
If you unmute her, does she also have to unmute herself?
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, here, no.
Hi, yes, I don't have a question at the moment.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else with their hand raised? This is absolutely fascinating, Robin. I don't know whether this is pertinent or not, but I'm a hugger. And not being able to hug people at the moment is, I mean, you know, first world problems, but it's been tough for me. Also, a friend lost her husband due to COVID, and not being able to hug her and comfort her was very difficult and very strange.
It's very, Helen, I can't agree more. To not be able to hug my adult children and their wives is beyond whatever. It's very awkward. When you have company over, it's very awkward. We put food on a plate and then you walk away. And also, I'm an extrovert. I say hi to everyone, and I'm walking in a neighborhood with a chocolate lab, okay? And I say hi even to people that are cutting the lawn. And yesterday, one of the lawn gentlemen bent down to pack the dog, and I could not let him do that. And that was so awkward for me. Okay, I mean, you know, I can't have him touch the dog with whatever, I don't know. And maybe I can, I don't know. But it's just awkward. Yes, social stuff is really awkward. And again, from polyvagal theory, which is really hot right now, people are taking courses, they're looking at it, it explains sort of, you know, the first level of when we're in distress is social engagement. We hold hands. Okay, we bring you closer. We give you a hug when you're hurt. We do all this social stuff, and right now we're being told no. And again, you put those masks on us afterwards. You put masks on us, and I can't even tell what your expression is, and I can't get it. You know, yeah. I somehow think they need to make them clear, and you know, there's just a lot of difficulties out here, and go back to gratitude, go back to things that make you laugh. Okay, yeah, kind of thing. I only had one slide. I lost it today. We couldn't find it. We couldn't get it to come up. I'm having a little bit of tech problems. But the one slide that I'm going to tell you about is my favorite personal COVID-19 picture that happened in my family. Okay, and it was a picture of my husband, and it was something I made him practice 3 times. He was not good at it. It was very awkward for him, and he was very uncomfortable coloring my hair. You know, I know some of you won't believe that there's no gray under here, but there's a lot of gray under here. And that was a picture, and I posted it everywhere because it's just funny. It's just funny. I'm going to flip for just a second to the positive. Yeah, yeah. Let me just say the positive. Yeah.
Yeah, we do have a question. Can I ask it? Yep. I know this is about caregivers, but can we discuss how to help our children with anxiety that they have about us parents returning to work with the virus? Our children are feeling anxiety too.
Yeah, children are feeling anxiety. So let me also just say, again, these are free. I have 2 videos up there on YouTube, either under Robin Bilazarian or under Tapping the Mighty Mind. And both of them, one of them works specifically with anxious children on anything. And the other one with another colleague, another therapist, we did one specifically on working with children and their worries about the COVID-19. So that may be something that I think I think both of them actually, I would recommend that that we look at first so that we have an understanding. But I do think it's one of those things that you can look at with your children. Okay, and again, they're free resources. Kind of thing. And basically, I think you have to listen. Okay, I think you have to listen, and please don't poo-poo it. Okay, I think you have to hear what they have to say. My new journey has been trying to understand the brain and why this works. And I'm told that when you state it, it loses its impact in the frontal cortex. Okay, and so when you state it, it loses its impact. So let the kids talk about it and let them cry about it too. And be, I don't want you to be 100% honest. You have to evaluate the age of the children. So you would not say to a 5-year-old, yes, we have 140,000 people that have died so far. Okay, you know, you just wouldn't do that. But evaluate what your child can handle. My philosophy about being honest with children is this. I think if we tell them about the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus, we certainly can tell them other things that are going to make them settle enough so that they don't think that we're lying, but we're telling them developmentally what they can handle. Yeah. Okay. So let me think what else I can say. There's probably categories of things that we need in terms of self-care, and things that we need to take a look at. And one of them is absolutely self-care. What are you doing for yourself? How are you compensating? You know, we also need to look at work. Are we working more? I'm actually working a tad less. I am taking new clients, but I'm certainly not advertising that, hey, I'm not speaking for Pessy 6 times a month. It's just once a month. I have all this extra time. I'm not saying that out loud because I think that we need to take care of ourselves, and it's just so intense. Because my clients that came in for anxiety over work, they're now trauma clients about this disaster, this invisible disaster that we're all in. And so my caseload that had a variety of people now is a full caseload of trauma clients and grieving clients. Okay, and you know, the grieving clients, we're grieving not only first of all, I have had a neighbor die from the virus. Okay, I've got a couple of nurses. One is, I mentioned that one is sick. One is telling me things like she's pretty upset about her shift last night because she put 3 people in body bags. Okay, people that she was talking to the day before. And so I have a full caseload, as do you, of trauma clients. And before they were not. That was not why she came. That client came in under a difficult divorce. And that was, I had that professional distance. But now it's, you know, so yeah, so take care of yourself that way. I think you have to figure out how to take care of the immediate people in your life, even the people in your house. And I think this may be controversial. I think you want some harmony, but I think because of so much togetherness, don't be hard on yourself if you spat a little bit more or here and there. Okay, you know, it's happening, and it's real, and it's just because we're on each other's nerves. My husband was prepared for me to be out of state 8 days a month, and here I am, and I'm not going anywhere. Okay, that's a pretty big change. Okay. Pay attention to your friends and your social life too. Again, the parameters that I'm putting on my friends and social life is I will talk to you about the COVID and illness for about 5 minutes, but the rest of the time I can't. I just can't. I can't do it, and I don't mean to be cold. Financial, take a look at that for you and your clients. Health and wellness, and yeah, and those kinds of things.
Right. Thank you so much, Robin. This has been brilliant. We've shared Robin's email, website, and also the title of her book.
I'm going to jump in one more thing, okay?
Yeah.
So I do present what you just saw for Pessy International. You know Pessy, they give you these big things. We all get, in New Jersey, we all get 10 of them a day because we're high density. So that, I don't get a difference in pay. But that workshop usually goes for $249, and it's half price now. Everything is half priced. And so I'm running that next Wednesday and again in September. If any of you want to know more about my passion anyway, which is the mind-body techniques.
Great. Thanks, Robin, and thanks, everybody. Let's keep those meridians in our thoughts, and we'll see you another time. Bye-bye.